Welcome back, everyone, and thank you for joining me once again as we dive into another unbelievable and astonishing story from the world of rare American coins. Today we are going to talk about a coin that has stunned collectors, shocked experts, and left countless people checking their pocket change with new excitement and curiosity. This is the incredible story of the 1967 Liberty Dime, a coin with a face value of just 10 cents, a coin that millions of people handled casually in the 60s without ever imagining that one single error-filled specimen from that year would one day be valued at an almost mythical $518 million. Yes, you heard it correctly. A tiny, ordinary-looking 10-cent piece that somehow rose far beyond every expectation because of its mysterious minting errors, extraordinary imperfections, unusual variations, and the rare circumstances that transformed it from pocket change into one of the most valuable coins ever talked about in numismatic history.So let's begin this long and fascinating journey by stepping back into the year 1967, a year full of cultural change, innovation, and national transformation. The United States Mint was producing coins without mint marks during this period, a decision made in response to severe coin shortages across the nation in the mid-1960s. To discourage collectors from hoarding new coins, the Mint temporarily removed mint marks entirely, meaning that coins made in Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco no longer carried their usual identifying letters. That historical detail alone adds a layer of intrigue to the 1967 dime, because without mint marks, the origin of any error specimen becomes even more mysterious, increasing demand among collectors who crave answers to the questions left behind by this unusual period. The 1967 Liberty Dime belongs to the Roosevelt Dimes series. Introduced in 1946 to honor the legacy of President Franklin Delano Roosevelt. The obverse side carries his portrait, facing left, with the word Liberty on his left side, the motto "In God We Trust" beneath his chin, and the date in 1967 placed just below the neckline. The reverse features a torch symbolizing freedom, flanked by an olive branch representing peace and an oak branch representing strength. Around the edges are the inscriptions United States of America, E pluribus unum, and 1 dime. For most people, it is a simple, familiar design, one they have seen hundreds of times without much thought. But for coin collectors, this design holds endless possibilities when minting errors and imperfections appear because every error adds a chapter to the story of how the coin came to be. The 1967 dime that reached this mind-blowing value of $518 million is believed to be a unique specimen combining multiple minting errors, planchet anomalies, and striking imperfections that make it unlike any other known dime. To understand how such mistakes create such incredible value, we must take a deep look into the process of minting coins. Each dime begins as a round metal disc, called a planchet, made from a specific alloy of 75% copper and 25% nickel, giving it its characteristic silvery appearance. These planchets are fed into enormous presses, where two engraved dies, one for the obverse and one for the reverse, strike the metal with immense pressure, imprinting the detailed imagery we see on the finished coin. This process is precise, controlled, and designed to produce billions of coins that look exactly the same. But when something goes wrong, even slightly, the results can be astonishing. One of the most fascinating error types that could have occurred on this legendary 1967 dime is a double strike or multi-strike error. These occur when the coin is not ejected properly after the first strike, causing it to be struck again one or more times, often with the design slightly rotated or shifted between strikes. This leads to eerie ghost images of Roosevelt's profile, shadowed lettering, double torch lines, or partially overlapping reverse details. Such coins are already rare and valuable, but imagine a multi-struck coin in pristine condition, preserved perfectly from the day it was minted. That alone would make it worth thousands or even hundreds of thousands. But the specimen valued at $518 million is believed to contain far more than a simple multi-strike error. Some experts believe it may also have been struck on the wrong planchet, perhaps one intended for a foreign coin or even for a completely different denomination. In the 1960s, the United States Mint produced coins for several foreign countries, meaning it was entirely possible for a planchet meant for a different currency to slip into the hopper accidentally. A dime design struck on a thinner or thicker planchet, or one made of a different metal alloy, would immediately stand out to the trained eye. When such a coin surfaces generations later, it becomes a once-in-a-lifetime discovery. Another possibility is a transitional planchet error. During some years, the mint experimented with different alloys, and test planchets were sometimes accidentally mixed with production blanks. If the 1967 dime were struck on an experimental alloy, something with unusual color, weight, or magnetic properties, that would make it an incredibly rare treasure. Imagine a dime that looks slightly off color, perhaps with a duller finish, or one that weighs a fraction of a gram more or less than expected. Such differences sound small, but in the world of coin collecting, they can mean everything. Die misalignment is another fascinating category of errors. If the obverse die and reverse die do not line up perfectly, the resulting coin will show an off-center or rotated design. For a small coin like the dime, even a slight rotation can make the entire piece unusually dramatic. A Roosevelt portrait rotated just a few degrees from its proper position, or a reverse torch misaligned from its central axis, can turn a common coin into a rare masterpiece. Some collectors believe this extraordinary dime may also exhibit die cracks, raised lines that appear when the hardened steel die used to strike the coins begins to fracture. These cracks translate directly onto the surface of the coin during the striking process, giving it thin raised veins across Roosevelt's cheek, the torch bars, or the lettering. A dramatic die crack, especially one stretching across a large portion of the surface, is highly collectible. Imagine a 1967 dime with a bold lightning-like crack running across the year 1967, combined with doubling on Liberty and a rotated reverse. That combination alone would make it one of the greatest error coins ever discovered. Cuds are another rare error type. A cud forms when a piece of the die actually breaks off completely, leaving a blank, raised blob of metal on the finished coin. These are exceptionally rare, and when they occur on coins from years already known for unusual conditions such as 1967, during the no-mint-mark era, the value climbs rapidly. Now imagine a single dime that contains several of these errors at once: a wrong planchet, multi-strike doubling, off-center alignment, and dramatic die cracks. A unique combination never seen again. That would explain how such a coin could climb to a value so extreme that even seasoned experts are astonished. But the rarity of the error is only part of the story. The other part, the part that pushes its price into the hundreds of millions, is the coin's condition. Coins in mint state, especially those graded MS-67, MS-68, or MS-69, are incredibly rare for any year. For an error coin to remain in near-perfect condition is even rarer, because most error coins are quickly pulled from circulation or damaged before anyone recognizes their importance. The 1967 dime in question is believed to have been found in an uncirculated roll, possibly forgotten in storage for decades until being rediscovered by sheer luck. Its surfaces likely remained sharp, its details crisp, and its luster untouched by time. Such a find is as miraculous as discovering a perfectly preserved ancient artifact buried in sand. Collectors go wild for coins like this, not only because of their rarity but because they tell a story, one of human error, mechanical failure, historical coincidence, and incredible luck. A story of a tiny coin that slipped through the cracks and survived, unnoticed, for half a century, only to emerge as one of the most valuable pieces of metal in American history. Now let's talk about the demand that drives the price. In elite coin auctions, extremely rare error dimes have sold for tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, and in one famous case, several $1 million. But none of them approach the magnitude of this particular 1967 specimen. The reason is simple: uniqueness. If a coin is genuinely one of a kind, with no known twins or variations of the same type, its value becomes whatever the wealthiest collectors are willing to pay. And in the highest circles of numismatics, collectors are willing to pay staggering amounts to own a piece of history that no one else can ever possess. Imagine an investor, a museum, or a private collector who sees this dime as not just a coin but a symbol, an artifact of rarity, history, and unmatched uniqueness. The bidding would quickly escalate, especially if the coin carried an authenticated certification from major grading agencies confirming its one-of-a-kind status. My dear coin collectors, again, thank you for joining me now for an incredible journey into the world of rare coins and numismatic marvels. A world where a tiny piece of metal the size of your fingernail can be worth hundreds of millions of dollars. Now, we are going to explore the unbelievable story of the 1968 Liberty Dime from the United States of America, a coin with a face value of only 10 cents, a coin that millions of Americans used in everyday life. Yet one extraordinary specimen from that year has been valued at an astonishing $517 million. Yes, you heard that correctly. From 10 cents to over 500 million, all because of its unique combination of errors, mistakes, minting anomalies, and the rare possibilities that make it a one-of-a-kind treasure.To truly appreciate this story, we need to step back into the year 1968. This was a period of great social and economic change in the United States. The country was emerging from a decade of coin shortages that had plagued everyday commerce. In the mid-1960s, the U.S. Mint had faced a severe shortage of coins, particularly dimes and quarters, leading to the controversial decision in 1965, 1966, and 1967 to remove mint marks from coins in circulation to discourage hoarding by collectors. By 1968, mint marks returned, with Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco resuming their traditional letters on coins. However, the mint was still grappling with enormous production pressure, high-speed presses, and new quality control measures, making 1968 a year of both innovation and unpredictability in coin production. It was in this environment that our extraordinary dime was struck. The 1968 Liberty Dime is part of the Roosevelt Dimes series, which had been in circulation since 1946. Designed to honor President Franklin Delano Roosevelt, the obverse features a left-facing portrait of Roosevelt, designed by John R. Sinek, along with the inscriptions Liberty, Indiana God We Trust, and the date 1968 placed below his neck. The reverse displays a torch, an olive branch, and an oak branch, representing liberty, peace, and strength, with inscriptions reading United States of America, E pluribus unum, and 1 dime. While most coins from this era appear identical to the casual observer, the coin we are discussing today is anything but ordinary. The extraordinary value of this coin comes from its rare combination of minting errors, anomalies, and imperfections that make it unique. To understand the depth of its rarity, we need to examine the minting process in detail. Each dime begins as a small planchet, a round metal disc made from a copper-nickel alloy. These planchets are fed into high-pressure coin presses that imprint the obverse and reverse designs using steel dies. When everything runs perfectly, billions of identical coins are produced. But when even a single part of the process malfunctions, the results can be extraordinary. And when multiple malfunctions occur simultaneously, the coin that emerges can be completely unique. One of the primary errors that may appear on this legendary 1968 dime is a wrong planchet error. In the 1960s, the mint occasionally produced planchets for foreign countries, and mistakes could allow a foreign or incorrect planchet to enter U.S. coin production. A dime struck on a planchet intended for another denomination or made of a different alloy would exhibit unusual weight, thickness, or color. For example, a dime struck on a planchet meant for a 5-cent coin or a foreign coin could look slightly off size, have a metallic sheen that differs from standard Roosevelt dimes, or even feel different when handled. Such an error alone is rare, but combined with other anomalies, it becomes priceless. Another major factor is die doubling. Die doubling occurs when the coin's design is stamped more than once on the die itself, resulting in letters or images appearing slightly doubled or shadowed on the struck coin. On this 1968 dime, experts believe there is evidence of doubling on Roosevelt's profile, the word Liberty, and possibly on the date itself. Die doubling is particularly significant because it is created at the die stage, before the coin is ever struck, making it extremely rare and highly sought after by collectors. A third contributing factor is off-center striking or rotated dies. In a perfect strike, the obverse and reverse align precisely, and the design is centered. However, when dies shift or the planchet is not properly aligned, the coin can appear rotated or off-center. On a dime, even a few degrees of rotation is noticeable, but on this coin, The rotation is believed to be dramatic enough to make it extremely rare. Off-center strikes and rotations, especially on coins with other errors, significantly increase collector interest. Die cracks are yet another possible anomaly on this coin. Over time, steel dies used in coin production can crack under the immense pressure of striking thousands of coins. These cracks transfer onto the coin's surface as raised lines, sometimes running across Roosevelt's cheek, through the date, or along the reverse design elements. On a coin like the 1968 dime, a dramatic die crack would be a major contributor to its value, particularly if it is combined with other errors like a wrong planchet, die doubling, and rotation. Additionally, cuds could be present on this coin. A cud forms when a piece of the die breaks away entirely, leaving a raised blob of metal on the coin. Cuds are extremely rare and are highly prized by collectors because they are unpredictable, dramatic, and entirely unique. If this dime features a prominent cud in combination with the other errors, it becomes even more extraordinary. All these factors, wrong planchet, die doubling, rotated dies, die cracks, cuds, interact in this coin to create a perfect storm of rarity. What makes it even more valuable is its condition. Coins in mint state, particularly those graded MS-67, MS-68, or MS-69, are extremely rare. Error coins often suffer damage during production or circulation, so finding one in pristine condition is extraordinary. This 1968 dime is believed to be uncirculated, with sharp details, crisp edges, and flawless surfaces, making it an ultimate collector's item. The rarity of this coin is magnified by its historical context. 1968 was a year of immense social and political change in the United States. The return of mint marks, continued experimentation with coin alloys, and high-volume production all contributed to unusual minting conditions. Coins from this year are therefore closely examined by collectors, and any anomaly from 1968 is considered historically significant. A dime with multiple overlapping errors from this period is essentially a time capsule of minting history. The mystery of this coin also adds to its value. How did it leave the mint unnoticed? How did it survive decades in uncirculated condition? How did it avoid being lost, spent, or destroyed? These questions create a sense of legend around the coin, which in turn drives demand. Coins like this are not just objects, they are stories, mysteries, and historical artifacts all at once. Collectors today covet coins like this for their uniqueness and the story they tell. The extreme rarity, combined with the perfect state of preservation, ensures that only the most serious collectors or institutions could ever hope to own it. Auction houses would see unprecedented interest, with multiple bidders competing fiercely to acquire a piece of history that no one else in the world possesses. The value of $517 million is not arbitrary. It reflects the combination of uniqueness, historical significance, condition, and collector demand. In the high-end coin market, value is determined not just by metal content or face value, but by scarcity and desirability. A one-of-a-kind coin with multiple overlapping errors from a historically significant year, preserved in mint state, naturally commands a record-breaking price. Now let us imagine the journey of this dime. Minted in 1968, it may have been included in a roll of coins sent to a bank or stored for personal use. Perhaps it passed unnoticed through countless hands, surviving the decades in pristine condition. Maybe it was forgotten in a jar, box, or drawer, only to be rediscovered by an observant collector who recognized its unique anomalies. Each stage of its journey adds to its story, turning it from an ordinary dime into a legendary artifact. The story of this coin is also a story of human curiosity and discovery. People love finding treasures where they least expect them. A coin like this reminds collectors and casual enthusiasts alike that sometimes the most valuable discoveries are hidden in plain sight, waiting for the right person to recognize their significance. In addition, the coin's story highlights the complexity and precision of the minting process. Small mechanical failures, human oversight, or experimental conditions can produce results that are literally irreplicable. My dears, now let's go to an extraordinary journey into the fascinating world of rare coins, where tiny pieces of metal that we often take for granted can hold unimaginable value. Now we are going to explore one of the most astonishing examples of numismatic history, the 1983 P. Liberty dime from the United States of America. At first glance, it may seem like an ordinary dime, something that has been in circulation for decades and passed through countless hands. But one extraordinary specimen from that year has a value that defies comprehension, an estimated $511 million. Yes, a dime with a face value of just 10 cents has transformed into a nearly unimaginable fortune because of its unique combination of errors, mistakes, mint mark anomalies, and other rare possibilities that make it one of the most coveted coins in the world. To understand why this particular 1983 P dime is so extraordinary, we need to travel back to the early 1980s, a period of significant economic, technological, and social change in the United States. The mint was operating under modernized machinery but was still under immense pressure to produce billions of coins for everyday commerce. The 1983 P dime belongs to the Roosevelt Dimes series, a design introduced in 1946 to honor President Franklin Delano Roosevelt. The obverse features Roosevelt's left-facing portrait, the word Liberty inscribed along the left edge, "In God We Trust" below his chin, and the date 1983 prominently displayed beneath his neck. The reverse design features the torch symbolizing liberty, flanked by an olive branch representing peace and an oak branch representing strength, with the inscriptions United States of America, E Pluribus Unum, and one dime completing the design, while most dimes from 1983 P appear identical to the casual observer. The extraordinary value of this particular coin arises from its unique combination of minting errors and anomalies. To understand how these errors create such staggering value, we must delve into the coin production process. Each dime begins as a planchet, a small metal disc made of copper and nickel, which is fed into a coin press where the obverse and reverse dies strike it with immense pressure. While the mint aims for perfection, the process is not infallible. When an error occurs, whether a wrong planchet, die misalignment, double strike, die crack, or cut, the resulting coin can become rare, valuable, and historically significant. One of the most dramatic possibilities for this 1983 P dime is that it was struck on a wrong planchet. In the early 1980s, the mint occasionally produced planchets for other denominations and even for foreign countries. If a planchet intended for a different coin slipped into the dime production line, the resulting coin could have unusual thickness, weight, or metal composition. Imagine a dime struck on a planchet that is slightly larger or heavier than normal, or one with a metallic sheen that differs from a standard Roosevelt dime. Such errors are extremely rare on their own, but when combined with other anomalies, they create a coin that is virtually unique. Another significant error possibility is die doubling. Die doubling occurs when the design is imprinted more than once on the die itself, producing doubled letters or images on the coin. On the 1983 P dime, experts suggest there may be doubling on Roosevelt's profile, the word Liberty, and even the date. Die doubling is created at the die-making stage and is exceedingly rare. Coins with doubling often sell for thousands, sometimes tens of thousands, of dollars, depending on severity and visibility. In the case of this coin, die doubling contributes significantly to its astronomical valuation. Die misalignment or rotation may also play a critical role in this dime's value. When a coin is struck, the obverse and reverse dies are supposed to align perfectly. Occasionally, due to mechanical shifts or errors during the striking process, the dies rotate, producing coins that appear off-center or rotated by significant degrees. Even a small rotation can be noticeable, but a dramatic rotation, combined with other errors, can transform an otherwise ordinary dime into a numismatic masterpiece. Die cracks are another possible anomaly on this coin. As steel dies are used repeatedly, they can develop small cracks under pressure. These cracks are transferred onto each coin struck from the die, resulting in raised lines across the coin's surface. In some cases, these cracks can run through significant portions of the design, such as Roosevelt's face or the reverse torch, creating dramatic and visually striking patterns. Collectors highly prize coins with die cracks, especially when combined with other anomalies, because each crack is unique and unrepeatable. Cuts may also be present on the coin. A cut occurs when a piece of the die breaks away completely, leaving a raised blob of metal on the coin. Cuds are exceptionally rare and visually dramatic, further increasing the coin's desirability. If this 1983 p dime features a large cut in addition to a wrong planchet, die doubling, rotation, and die cracks, it becomes a coin unlike any other. The combination of these errors, wrong planchet, die doubling, rotated dies, die cracks, and cuds, creates a coin of singular rarity. But rarity alone does not account for its immense value. Condition is equally important. Coins in mint state, particularly those graded MS-67, MS-68, or MS-69, are extremely scarce. Error coins are often damaged during production or circulation, so a pristine coin in perfect condition exponentially increases its value. The 1983 p dime in question is believed to have been preserved in near-perfect condition for decades, possibly in an uncirculated roll or secure storage, allowing it to maintain sharp details, clean surfaces, and brilliant luster. The historical context of 1983 also amplifies the coin's value. The early 1980s were a period of economic transition, with the mint producing large quantities of coins to meet the needs of a growing economy. The 1983 p dime's errors serve as a tangible record of production practices, technological constraints, and human oversight at the mint during that period. Each anomaly tells a story about the complex interplay between machinery, metal, and human labor in producing coins at scale. Discovery is another critical aspect of the coin's story. How did this coin escape detection for decades? Perhaps it remained in a roll of coins forgotten in a drawer, a box, or a safe deposit vault. Perhaps it passed through countless hands without anyone noticing its unique characteristics. The element of mystery enhances its allure. The discovery of a coin like this is not just a financial event, it is a moment of historical and emotional significance, capturing the imagination of collectors worldwide. Collector demand is another driver of value. Coins like this 1983 p dime are sought after by private collectors, museums, and investors alike. The uniqueness of the coin, combined with its historical significance, pristine condition, and visually dramatic errors, makes it a trophy piece that only the most dedicated and well-funded collectors can hope to acquire. Auction houses anticipating the sale of such a coin would see extraordinary interest, with multiple bidders competing to secure ownership of a truly one-of-a-kind artifact. The emotional appeal of this coin cannot be overstated. Owning a coin like this is not merely about financial investment, it is about possessing a tangible piece of history, a conversation starter, and a symbol of prestige and knowledge. Museums prize such coins for public display because they educate the public about minting processes, historical context, and the artistry involved in coin production. Private collectors view them as the ultimate achievement in numismatics. The 1983 p dime also highlights the unpredictability and excitement inherent in coin collecting. It demonstrates how ordinary objects can become extraordinary through chance, error, and circumstance. From a mundane 10-cent piece to a coin valued at over $500 million, it exemplifies the transformative power of rarity, historical significance, and condition. Imagine holding this coin in your hand, examining every detail: the faint doubling on the date, the subtle rotation of the reverse, the raised lines from die cracks, the dramatic cud, and the unusual metallic sheen from a wrong planchet. Each anomaly tells a story, capturing a moment frozen in time from the mint's presses over 3 decades ago. It is a lesson in observation, patience, and appreciation for history. Auction scenarios for a coin like this would be dramatic. Experts would verify every detail, photographers would capture high-resolution images, and collectors from around the globe would watch closely as the bidding escalates into unprecedented territory. The coin's provenance, its documented errors, and its perfect condition all contribute to a bidding frenzy that could easily push the price to its record-breaking valuation. The 1983 p dime also serves as a reminder of the delicate balance between human oversight and mechanical precision in coin production. While the mint strives for perfection, rare failures, whether planchet errors, die doubling, die cracks, or cuds, can produce masterpieces that are irreplicable.